Sports Court is in session. On the docket tonight in Sports Court, do championships carry too much weight on a player's legacy? Absolutely not. It don't mean a thing if you ain't got the ring. John Stockton is one of the most accomplished point guards of all time. You know what's missing on that resume? A championship or two. It's the reason several people would take Isaiah Thomas over John Stockton, or several other guards who had championship glory, like some dude named Earvin Magic Johnson. Either way, I feel like you really got to have that championship to solidify a stellar career. You look at Giannis Antetokounmpo, would have gone down as one of the best players in NBA history, but now that he brought a championship to the Milwaukee Bucks, you can bet he'll be one of the top power forwards of all time when he hangs it up.
Those titles, a little too overrated. I'm going to go to Detroit. We've got Barry Sanders in Detroit, Calvin Johnson, two guys that are arguably two of the best at their position of all time. No titles, and I don't even have to leave the city of Detroit. I can go back 100 years. Ty Cobb, highest batting average of all time in MLB history. No titles. Do we think that those guys aren't some of the best players in history, Jamal?
I'll tell you for different reasons. I think Ty Cobb is overrated. I will accept all the hate mail I get for that. But you talk about Barry Sanders, and if anybody wants to say who's better than Barry Sanders, they name people like, Walter Payton, who won a Super Bowl, or Jim Brown, who won NFL championships in his prime. So I think championships do go a long way, Nate. You got to agree that there's a reason that people don't say Dan Marino's the greatest quarterback of all time, right? Because he doesn't have a championship.
I'm going to go to the NBA right now. We're going to look at the guy who has the most titles of all time, Bill Russell. How often do you hear people actually talking about him as the greatest NBA player of all time, despite having those 11 titles? I mean, that's a ridiculous amount, but people aren't like, oh, he's got the most titles, he's the best player. We're looking at Michael Jordan, we're looking at LeBron James. He did it with a team around him, is what my point is here. It's a lot of a team sport when it comes to winning those titles, and you just don't see guys doing it on their own.
In my closing arguments, I'll actually agree with Nate to a degree. I will say winning a ring is very much a team thing. You look at a guy like Chris Osgood, he might not ever be considered one of the greatest goaltenders of all time. He's got some hardware on his finger, right? And I think winning a championship is that final stamp. We've talked about Matthew Stafford right here on Sports Court. Winning a Super Bowl is ultimately going to be the main thing that makes Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer one day, because he's got the stats, now he's got the ring.
Now, of course, I'll agree with you to an extent. Matthew Stafford, of course, that ring going to do him a lot of favors. I thought he was a Hall of Famer before he left Detroit. Just for those stats that he put up, these singular efforts by a lot of these guys really do a lot to cement their legacy as some of the best ever.
Now we want to know what you think. Head to our Facebook page to comment.
Or you can text COURT to 616-559-1310, and next week we'll highlight our favorites.
Until next time, Sports Court is adjourned.